Hello everybody, Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the Impact Review for the 29th of September 2020. Overall, not a great show, but not the worst show ever. There's some good stuff on here. There's also some stuff that I wouldn't have put on here in 10 million years. So, interesting combo of things. And, overall, even with the stuff I did not enjoy, the storylines are more consistent than most of what WWE does, except for their main event storylines. And a lot of the people that I enjoy exist for the benefit of advancing storylines, but also they do make week to week, worth watching. They do rush storylines, but there is a Victory Road show on Saturday. I don't. Well, actually, I think I will be covering it. I don't know that, but a lot depends on my schedule for Saturday with clients. But I'm going to try and do my best to cover that before probably Monday of next week. Anyway, so they kind of build for the Victory Road show, which is a Impact Plus subscription show, and the Bound for Glory pay-per-view in a couple of weeks. Well, less than a month now. Anyway, they focus on the X Division 3-way for a shot at Raju, and, they kind of focus on the Eric Young, Rich Swann thing, and the return of Eddie Edwards and all of that. That's basically where the focus is. They open with a match I wasn't necessarily a fan of. Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary defeat Havoc and Nevaeh. It moves the storyline forward fine. I'm just not really a fan of Taya's. The characters never clicked with me. I do enjoy the Rosemary stuff, though, so that kind of makes it bearable. And Havoc and Nevaeh are both decent enough in the ring. Havoc and Rosemary go face-to-face, but they get pulled apart by their respective partners. Taya uses Lucha arm drags early, and then Havoc and Rosemary go strike for strike. There's some kicks and an attempted choke slam. Rosemary fights out of that. Tag back to Taya, and she goes a little nuts. Havoc recovers, takes down Taya with a backbreaker, and then they do some submission work by Nevaeh. Taya tries to fight away, but Nevaeh keeps in control and gets a couple of pin attempts. Havoc tags in for another backbreaker clothesline combination and goes for another near fall. Taya finally fights off and tags Rosemary. Rosemary comes in, goes nuts, hits exploder suplexes among other things. Rosemary goes in and locks in the upside down on Havoc, following a crossbody, and then the baby faces hit a double spear. Nevaeh tags in, hits a German on Rosemary. Taya blocks a German attempted on her. She hits the Road to Valhalla, picks up the win. Decent opener for these ladies. One thing that Impact has done well since the Gail Kim Awesome Kong days, 10, 15 years ago, is highlight women. They continue to do it here, and they do it in a way where I do care more about the female characters, save for a couple, than I do in WWE or AEW. They are well fleshed out characters for the most part, even if they're not the best in the ring, or even if they're not given the greatest material. Anyway, post-match, Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan come out. They jump Taya, Rosemary, Havoc, and Nevaeh. And that's kind of what's there. Backstage, Good Brothers are telling a story. The tag champs approach them, and Shelly starts making fun of Anderson's past in Japan and insulting him. and Anderson has no comebacks. This makes Anderson look weak, which, unless it's going to pay off, probably not the best idea. Gia Miller interviews Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo, who said that Kylie Rae was completely confused to think that everyone likes her. And it wouldn't mean anything when she steps in the ring with Purrazzo. Miller announced that Purrazzo will be defending her title at the Victory Road thing on Saturday against Susie. Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne run down the card for Victory Road, which Madison Rayne, week by week, still continues to be better than most of the WWE broadcasters, other than maybe Wade Barrett. Just in terms of consistency of character and all that stuff. Jordana Grace defeats Tenille Dashwood with Caleb with a K. Grace starts out the match chasing after Tenille and Grace tries to get her Grace driver, but Tenille escapes, and then scoop slam and a senton for near fall by Grace. And Jordana pushes Tenille to the corner. And then Jordana whips her from corner to corner. And this is just pretty dominant. I don't get Tenille in this position anyway. She finally does manage to get a neck breaker, does Tenille, and that changes the tempo of the match. Tenille works her over and goes after her hair again and again, which is completely pointless. And then we basically have a cat and mouse game for several minutes. Eventually, Jordana connects with a jab, a boot, and hits the running knees to the back, and some falling elbows and a Vader bomb for near fall. Grace goes for the Grace driver, but Tenille blocks it, only to take some close distance clotheslines instead, and Jordana hits the clotheslines and ends up hanging in a tree of woe. Tenille's low cross body for near fall. Tenille goes for a double underhook. Grace blocks Tenille and goes for the spotlight, but Grace dodged and set up. Grace driver gets distracted by Caleb. Tenille goes for the O'Connor roll. Jordana reverses it into a sleeper and a submission win. This isn't technically bad, but it doesn't make me want to see Tenille again, and makes the match a few weeks ago that Jordana Grace had with Deonna Purrazzo mean less if she had this much trouble with this particular opponent. Moose is running around backstage. He's looking for EC3. He's attacking innocent people along the way. EC3 appears and says that next week he will destroy the TNA title. Video package of Rich Swann's recovery and rehab. He says he's bound for glory. And then he says he's finally cleared to go. They do the Impact review segment for Impact Plus. It's Madison Rayne versus Gail Kim. Rhino and Heath celebrate the success of their last infomercial. Reno scums out, and Hernandez jumps them, takes their money that they'd stolen, and then Rhino went back looking for D'Amore and asking for a match with Reno Scum. D'Amore said that this was a favor because Heath didn't work here, but if Heath signs a waiver, he and Heath can fight them unsanctioned at Victory Road. Why would you even do a waiver storyline? No, stupid. Good Brothers call Anderson, Doc Gallows, defeat the Rascals, Desmond, Xavier, and Zachary Wentz. Anderson and Xavier start the match. Anderson gets an early advantage and hits a series of elbows. Desmond gets a Rana on Anderson and tags in Wentz, who gets pushed into Gallows, who's tagged in next. I don't think Anderson and Gallows should even be in the same ring with these guys unless it's literally to run them over. I think the Motor City Machine Guns have enough credibility. I do not think the Rascals have enough credibility here. Gallows hits Wentz with a series of punches and some headbutts, tags. Desmond gets tagged in. Rascals surprise Anderson with a series of kick combos, brings him down, gets a near fall on him. Desmond goes running, drop kick. Anderson blocks and tags Gallows, who comes in with a clothesline on Xavier and hits a delayed suplex. Good Brothers take over from there for a while. They hit quick tags and strikes and headlocks and other things. Gallows almost gets a submission victory. And Xavier fights back. Anderson and Wentz tag in, and Wentz somehow gets the better of Anderson in a strike exchange and hits an enziguri and a step up knee and a PK. Xavier tags in his partner for a double team foot stomp and a hot fire flame. Anderson gets the knees up and gets rid of Wentz. Xavier tries to dive on Gallows, but gets caught and tossed into his partner. Anderson hits a spine buster in the ring on Xavier, followed by a magic killer for the win. This should not have taken this long. Good Brothers, I can't believe they've signed them just to have them wrestle with guys who aren't necessarily incapable of getting over, but aren't over enough that they should be competing with less than 7 years ago was one of the best teams in Japan. Anderson calls out Shelley and Sabin. He says they came here for money, but they also came here for championships. They challenge them for a match at Bound for Glory. Brian Myers comes in, finds himself in the same hallway with Tommy Dreamer, and they go face to face. Myers tries to jump Dreamer. Dreamer manages to block the attack and challenges Myers to a match at Victory Road. Tenille and Caleb are leaving the arena, and Caleb challenged Georgiana Grace on behalf of Tenille for a match at Victory Road, and Tenille's not happy about this. Anyway, Johnny Swinger defeats Falaba to become the best man for Johnny Bravo. My gosh, this is horrible. Anyway, Deaners, Crazy Steve, Alicia Edwards, and Bravo are all at ringside to watch. Swinger jumps Falaba. Can't get much in the way of offense going in his way. Swinger tries to slam the big man, but can't. Instead, he's on the receiving end. Swinger raked the eyes of his opponent. Stomps on Cody Deaner's hand on the outside, distracts the referee, and uses Steve's monkey to hit Bala for the win. This is horrible. Bravo berates the referee for not seeing that Swinger cheated, and he says his wedding is now ruined, and totally restarts the match, or he'd never be head official. And they restart the match. Falaba gets the win here. Match restarted again. Bacot Swinger with a running body splash and a bonsai drop for another win. Basically, this is a whole comedy segment that takes A, way too long, and B, wasn't that funny to begin with. Gia Miller interviews Rahet Raju about his cheap win last week, and he says that he's become the star of Impact, and he's debuting. Defeat Rohit, challenge at Victory Road. TJP approaches him and says he wanted his first chance at the challenge. Rohit tells him that the challenge was for anyone that hasn't already had their chance. Gee, this sounds like Raw. Anyway, Swinger approached Bravo, reversing the decision. Bravo said he didn't care who the best man was, revealed and reversed the decision because it was a bad call, and the referee told he was a moron. And I don't know where this is going. Anyway, Eddie Edwards comes down to the ring. He calls out whoever attacked him last week. Sami Callihan comes out. Callihan tells Eddie he didn't do it and that Eddie knew him and that Sami didn't hide behind hidden attacks. Sami had footage of the man who attacked him. Ken Shamrock was behind Eddie, and Shamrock looked like $1 million here. Takes Eddie down with a kick and locks on the ankle lock. Sami and Shamrock could be teaming against Eddie, and maybe Eddie will challenge EY for the title at the Saturday deal here. Eric Young cuts a promo about Eddie not being healthy enough for him at Victory Road. And so if Eddie decides to show up, he'll enjoy destroying him. Kylie Rae approaches Susie about her shot at Victory Road. Rae says she's happy that she has the chance and would be even happier if Susie won. They could wrestle instead at Bound for Glory. And basically they're teasing Su Yung coming out at Kylie Rae, which I assume is going to be a feud somewhere down the road. Matthews and Rain run down the updated card for Victory Road, including the Defeat Reheat Challenge, Tenille versus Jordana, the third run, Myers and Dreamer, Reno Scum and Rhino and Heath, Eric Young and Eddie Edwards for the Impact title. I hope that leads to Eddie and Rich Swann. I think that would be better than Eddie and Eric Young. I know they're not going to do that, but I still think it would be better. Anyway, we go to the main event. Main event is the Northeast, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander defeating Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Fulton and Page start the match. Power advantage to Fulton, obviously. Page hides behind the ropes and tries to use some speed, tries to get a sleeper on Fulton. Fulton's having none of it and tosses Page around the ring. Alexander tries a distraction. He gets taken out as well. North get Fulton to chase them and trap them in a double team position. Fulton regains control over the North, getting Page and hitting Alexander with a big power slam. This leads to a near fall. Ace Austin tags in, hits a leg drop for a near fall. He works over Alexander for a bit until he's dominated again. Fulton goes back to destroying Alexander in the corner, and he's not even selling the chops from Alexander. Ace tags in again and hits a running attack, and Alexander recovers, tags in Page. They hit a double Thunderbomb on Ace to gain some much-needed momentum. North works over Ace with quick tags. Remember, they've been tag team champions for years, so they should know what they're doing. Ace and Fulton have less of an advantage here. Ace eventually manages to hit a dropkick to bring down Page. Fulton and Josh tag in. They go into a strike battle. Fulton hits a pop-up palm strike, and then Alexander hits a German and a rolling elbow. And that leads almost to a victory for him. Page and Ace tag back in, and Page gets kicked a few times. And then top rope leg drop by Austin for near fall. Ace goes for an assisted splash from the shoulders of Fulton. Fulton goes for a chokeslam on Page, but Page is saved by Alexander. And the North tosses Ace into Fulton for a double clothesline. And then Fulton gets tossed out of the ring. And basically Fulton gets nailed in the knees. Back in the ring, the North double team Ace Austin with a series of strikes and their finisher for the win. Post-match, the Good Brothers come out, go face-to-face with the North and talk about wanting to get rid of them once and for all. Ace and Fulton attack Anderson and Gallows. Motor City Machine Guns come out and join the brawl and end the show. Good match to end the show. It's going to be really sad when Ethan Page leaves the promotion at the beginning of next year. but good for him in his career. But anyway, that's Impact. Better than Raw, better than SmackDown, and they're like, what, the third or fourth brand in the country. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.